Men don't always cheat just because they want sex. Sometimes they cheat because they have felt unwanted for so long that being desired by someone else feels like proof they still exist. And before anybody twists my words, no, I am not justifying cheating. I am explaining what sexlessness can do to a man when rejection, silence, shame, and sexual exclusivity all live in the same relationship. This video is for you if sex disappeared in your relationship, nobody has a real plan to fix it, and one partner is still expected to stay faithful, calm, patient, loyal, affectionate, and sexually exclusive while feeling rejected over and over and over again. Watch until the end because I'm going to give you the question every sexless couple needs to ask before cheating becomes the ugly way someone tries to escape the pain. Hi, this is Dr. Tangie, the Sex Doctor Board Certified Clinical Sexologist. And in my channel, I talk about all the topics regarding sexual health, including sexlessness and the things that others don't tell you. If you like straightforward, honest, open, and adult sex education, please subscribe to my channel. Your tiny gesture means a lot to me. It makes me feel not only very good, but it also helps this channel grow and reach a broader audience. You can also talk to me directly by following the link below and find other ways to support my work. Thanks. Let's start with accountability. Cheating is a choice. Cheating breaks trust. Cheating can devastate the person betrayed, the family, the children, and the entire relationship structure. So this is not a video saying, oh, poor man, they had no choice. Nope. They had choices. They could have told the truth. They could have asked for therapy. They could have requested medical evaluation. They could have asked to renegotiate the relationship. They could have left before betraying. They could have said, I cannot continue like this. So yes, cheating is still a breach. But if we want to understand why men cheat in sexless relationships, we cannot stop at men just want to have sex. That's too lazy. The sex may be the visible issue, but underneath it, there is often rejection, humiliation, identity collapse, shame, loneliness, resentment, fear, and a desperate need to feel wanted again. So what kind of sexlessness are we talking about? I am not talking about a short, dry spell. I am not talking about illness, postpartum recovery, grief, caregiving, menopause, erectile or ejaculatory issues, pain with sex, or a temporary season where both people are communicating and trying. That is life. I am talking about unwanted sexlessness inside a committed relationship where he still wants sexual connection. He still wants intimacy. He still wants to feel chosen. He keeps getting rejected. He eventually stops initiating. Nobody talks honestly about it. There's no plan created. No medical or relational issue is addressed. And yet, he is still expected to remain sexually exclusive indefinitely. That combination is where things start to break. Silence plus rejection plus exclusivity plus no plan is a dangerous emotional environment. Not because cheating becomes acceptable, but because the relationship becomes vulnerable. And this is the part people minimize. Rejection changes men. Repeated sexual rejection does not just frustrate a man, it can change him profoundly. At first, he may try harder. He initiates, he flirts, he plans dates, he touches, he compliments, he tries to be patient. Then he gets rejected again and again and again. Eventually, his body learns, don't reach, don't ask, don't hope, don't initiate, don't humiliate yourself again. Then he stops trying, but the need does not disappear. It goes underground. And when male desire goes underground, it can come out as distance, irritability, porn use, emotional withdrawal, workaholism, resentment, and eventually an affair. Not because men are animals, because men are human. And humans who feel unwanted for a long time start looking for relief somewhere else. And this is the identity wound. For many men, sex is not only physical release, it is also reassurance. It says, I am wanted, I am chosen, I am still desirable, I still have something to offer. My partner wants me. I'm not just a paycheck, a roommate, a father, a handyman, or a provider. So when sex disappears, the wound can become very deep. A man may start thinking, she doesn't want me. I disgust her. I am not masculine anymore. I've lost it. I'm not attractive. I'm failing. Something is wrong with me. And here is where shame enters. Many men do not have a good language for sexual grief. They were not thought or taught to say, I feel lonely. I feel unwanted. I feel sexually abandoned. I miss feeling desired. I am scared. This means I'm not enough. So instead, they shut down. They act like they don't care. They get quiet. They get angry. They become sarcastic. They stop initiating. And then everyone says, he's distant. But sometimes he's distant because closeness has become a place of constant humiliation. Men are often shamed for wanting sex. Let's tell the truth. When a man says he misses sex, many people, especially women, immediately hear entitlement. They hear pressure. They hear selfishness. They hear, oh, all you care about is sex. And yes, some men do act entitled. Some men do pressure. Some men do reduce intimacy to penetration and orgasm. That is real and that is wrong. But it is also true that many men are not just saying, I need a release. They are saying, I need to feel wanted by the person I am committed to. That is different. Wanting sex in a committed relationship does not automatically make a man disgusting, shallow, coercive, or immature. It makes him a human being with a need for erotic connection. Nobody owes him sex, but he's allowed to grieve the loss of sexual connection. He is allowed to ask for honesty. He is allowed to ask for a plan. He is allowed to say, I cannot live in silent celibacy indefinitely. And that is not coercion. That is clarity. And this is the dangerous moment when someone else wants him. Here is where affairs often begin. A man feels invisible at home. Then someone else notices him. A coworker laughs at his jokes. An old friend compliments him. A woman looks at him with desire. Someone touches his arm. Someone says, your wife is lucky. Someone makes him feel masculine, interesting, wanted, alive. And suddenly, he remembers a part of himself he thought was dead. And that is dangerous because when someone has been sexually rejected for years, being wanted can feel intoxicating. Not because the other person is necessarily better, not because the affair is love, but because deprivation makes attention feel like medicine. And when the hunger has been ignored for years, the first person who offers validation can become very powerful. Again, this is not an excuse for cheating, but it explains why it can feel so compelling. Some men say it's just sex, but it usually isn't. A lot of men say, I just want sex, or it didn't mean anything if they had an affair. It was only physical. I wasn't looking for love. I just needed to feel normal again. Well, maybe, but here's the truth. Sex is rarely only sex when someone has been starved for touch, affirmation, and desire. Sex can become validation. Sex can become emotional regulation. Sex can become proof of masculinity. Sex can become escape. Sex can become revenge. Sex can become anesthesia. Sex can become the place where a man finally feels wanted and chosen again. And once someone feels wanted elsewhere, attachment becomes predictable. Not guaranteed, but predictable. Because people bond with the place where they feel alive. That is why just go get sex somewhere else and don't get attached is often naive. If a man has felt rejected for years, the risk is not only that he has sex, the risk is that he remembers what mutual desire feels and stops accepting emotional starvation at home. This is what sexlessness can do to male sexual function. There is this other layer people rarely discuss. Repeated rejection can affect performance. A man can begin to develop anxiety around initiation. Then, if sex finally does happen, he may feel pressure to perform perfectly because it happens so rarely. That pressure can trigger erection problems, ejaculatory issues. Then the erection problem and the ejaculatory problems create shame. Then shame creates avoidance. Then avoidance creates even more sexlessness. Now the couple may think, he doesn't want me or she doesn't want me, when actually the whole system is contaminated by anxiety, shame, and pressure. This is why I say do not wait years to address sexlessness. By the time sex returns, the rejected partner may not feel safe anymore. The body may not trust the moment. The erection may not cooperate. The mind may be watching instead of feeling. The nervous system may be asking, is this real? Is this pity? Is this duty sex? Is this going to disappear again? That is why just have sex again is not enough. The couple has to rebuild trust, safety, desire, and confidence in the relationship and in intimacy again. Explanation is not excuse. Let me say this clearly again. A sexless relationship does not give anyone automatic permission to cheat. Cheating is not ethical renegotiation. Cheating is not consent. Cheating is not honesty. Cheating is not a healthy boundary. If sex is gone, the answer is not secrecy. The answer is truth. But explanation matters because if we never understand the conditions that led to betrayal, couples will keep walking into the same fire and acting surprised when everything burns. Both things can be actually true. The cheating was wrong and the sexlessness was harmful. The betrayal caused damage and years of rejection caused damage. The affair broke the trust, and silence may have been breaking the relationship long before the affair. Adults should be able to hold the whole truth. And this is what men should do before cheating. If you are a man watching this and you feel rejected, unwanted, ashamed, and tempted, do not use this video as permission to betray your partner. Use it as permission to tell the truth. Say this: I love you and I want us to work, but our sexual relationship has disappeared and it is affecting me deeply. I feel rejected and unwanted. I am not asking you to have sex you do not want. I am asking us to talk honestly and make a plan. Then ask direct questions. Is this temporary or permanent? Is this medical, emotional, relational, trauma-based, hormonal, or attraction-based? Are you willing to work on this with me? Are you willing to get medical evaluation if pain, hormones, ED, or medication issues are involved? Are you willing to go to sex therapy or therapy? Are you willing to redefine sex beyond intercourse? Are we willing to set a timeline and reassess? That is how you act with integrity, not by cheating, but by confronting reality. This is what the other partner needs to hear. If your male partner says he feels unwanted, do not immediately dismiss him. Do not say, oh, all you care about is sex. Do not say, oh, you're disgusting. Do not say, you're pressuring me. Do not say, why can't you just be happy with what we have? Do not make his desire the villain. You do not have to have sex you do not want. But if you care about the relationship and your partner, you need to participate in the truth. A better response sounds like, I hear that this is hurting you. I do not want you to feel unwanted. I am struggling with desire, but I'm willing to explore what is happening and make a plan with you. That one sentence can prevent years of damage because the issue is not only low desire, the issue is refusal to engage. No sex plus no conversation plus no plan becomes emotional abandonment. These are your options before betrayal. Before cheating, you have options. A medical evaluation, therapy, sex therapy, addressing resentment in the relationship, treating erectile dysfunction, treating pain, addressing hormones, looking at medication side effects, changing the sexual script, redefining sex beyond penis and vagina intercourse, creating a pleasure ladder, rebuilding non-sexual affection, scheduling, yes, scheduling intimacy regularly, renegotiating monogamy ethically, separating or divorcing. Those options may be uncomfortable, I agree, but they're cleaner than betrayal. The worst option is to do nothing, say nothing, avoid everything, and wait until somebody explodes. That is how relationships die. This is the ethical renegotiation conversation. If sex has been gone for a long time and repair is not happening, the couple has to ask, what is our relationship agreement now exactly? Because if one partner has ended sex and the other partner is still expected to remain sexually exclusive forever, that is not a small issue. That is a major contract change. And no, that does not mean that sexually frustrated partner gets to cheat. It means the couple has to renegotiate honestly. The conversation may sound like this. We're no longer having sex. I need to understand what that means for us. Are we rebuilding? Are we redefining intimacy? Are we considering ethical non-monogamy? Are we choosing companionship only? Are we separating? Because I cannot live in assumptions forever. That is an adult conversation. Painful. Yes, absolutely. But necessary. Because silence is not a relationship agreement. Ambiguity is not consent. And resentment is not a plan. This is the hard truth about male infidelity in sexless relationships. The hard truth is this. He may not have cheated only because he wanted another body. He may have cheated because he wanted to stop feeling like his body, his desire, his presence did not matter. That does not make it right, definitely, but it is understandable. And understanding is important if the goal is prevention, repair, or honest decision making. Because if the relationship is dead, someone has to say it. If the sex is gone, someone has to name it. If desire is blocked, someone has to explore why. If monogamy is still expected, someone has to explain what the plan is. If there is no plan, someone has to ask what the relationship has become. Avoidance is not kindness. Silence is not peace. And indefinite rejection without dialogue is not a neutral act. This is what I want men to hear. Men, if you are in this situation, do not collapse into begging. Do not punish, do not cheat, and then call it survival. Lead with truth. Lead with dignity. Say what is happening. Ask for a plan. Set a healthy boundary. And if there's no willingness, no conversation, no care, no repair, and no path forward, then you have to decide what kind of life you are agreeing to. Because staying in silent and in silent resentment can make you bitter. Cheating can make you destructive, but honesty can make you free, even if the truth hurts. And this is what I want partners to hear. If your partner is telling you that sexlessness is hurting him, take it seriously. Not because you owe sex, you do not, but because you owe honesty if the relationship agreement has changed. If you do not want sex right now, say that. If sex hurts, say that. If resentment killed desire, say that. If there is a medical issue, address it. If attraction is gone, be honest with compassion. If you're done with a sexual relationship for good, say that clearly. What is not fair is ending the relationship silently and expecting the other person to live indefinitely in confusion, rejection, and celibacy while pretending nothing changed. No one owes sex. But in committed love, you do owe truth. So no, men do not always cheat for sex. Sometimes they cheat because they feel unwanted. Sometimes they cheat because rejection has damaged their confidence and sense of worth. Sometimes because shame has made them silent. Sometimes they cheat because someone else made them feel desired after years of feeling invisible in the relationship. Again, cheating is not the answer, but neither is pretending that unwanted sexlessness has no consequences. If you're in a sexless relationship, on either side of the equation, you owe yourself and your partner honesty, a clear and ongoing dialogue, and the plan for how to move forward. That is only fair. Now, tell me honestly, have you seen this happen or lived it at all? What do you think men are really looking for when they cheat in sexless relationships? Sex, validation, relief, revenge, connection, or the feeling of being wanted again? And if you're in a sexless relationship now, has there been a real conversation and a plan, or just silence? I read the comments and I want this conversation to be honest without cruelty. As usual, I wish you safe, healthy, and pleasurable sex of whatever kind you practice. See you next time.